Man, listen, folks, I have a theory, and it's not the best theory in the world. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but I do have a theory, okay? There's been so much information coming out about Nancy Guthrie, Savannah, and Annie Guthrie's mother, right? Yesterday, we covered the brother-in-law. I messed that up. I said stepbrother. Yesterday, we covered the brother-in-law and how, there is a possibility that the police are looking at him as a potential suspect because of him being the final person to see Nancy the night that she got kidnapped. But as time goes on, more information is being released, specifically by TMZ. Now, there was a ransom letter written to TMZ and other news stations in Tucson. And this is very important to note. TMZ received it and local news stations received the ransom letter. More information is coming out about this ransom letter as we go on throughout the week, and it's explaining that Nancy Guthrie is alive but scared. Alive but scared. That was in the ransom note that the family received through the news stations and through TMZ, right? My theory is that Nancy Guthrie might not be with us anymore. And the reason I say that is because there has not been a follow-up. We're going to go through videos, right? The brother of Savannah is making a video attempting to contact this person. Savannah herself made a video as well trying to contact this person, but no contact has been made. No response has been made. Now, I made a mistake the other video, and I said that it was a $50,000 demand. That's not the case. We don't know what the exact demand is, but I've heard that it is monetary, obviously. The fact that the kidnapper hasn't reached out, hasn't made communication, hasn't done anything to try to receive this money immediately shoots to my head that this woman is no longer alive because they didn't know how to take care of her properly. Remember, they kidnapped her, bust her head open, allegedly. There's blood trails leading everywhere. She's clearly hurt and without medication. Now, again, for those of you who don't take medication every day, you might be like, oh, well, I guess she'll be okay. No, some people need medication every single day. Do you think that these people really were able to stop at the CVS and get her the drugs, the prescribed drugs that she needs to stay alive? My theory is that she died in their custody and now they're freaking out. But before we even get into the further details that were released by TMZ about the real ransom letter, I kind of want to show you the hoax ransom that was written trying to capitalize on this situation, because this dumbass was able to contact the family, but the way he did it was through a false Google number. They were able to find his email and they arrested this dumbass. But anyways, let's go ahead and run the film. It's been a crazy day for the Guthrie family. There's always that lazy piece of shit who wants to get everything for free. And I'm so happy this guy got caught so soon, because what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? He probably lived in the area, I'm assuming, and thought he could make a quick buck by texting the family that they have to give him Bitcoin or something, or else their mother's gonna die, okay? And this is the problem with the internet nowadays. Everybody's able to see information at a moment's notice. And you have dumbasses like good old Derek Colella who thinks that they can make some money and not get their asses arrested, okay? But I do want to point out Derek Colella's ransom letter compared to the official ones that the police are taking seriously, because there's a distinct difference, okay? He texted them using an actual number. The ransom note was actually written and sent out to news stations, okay? So we could already tell that there's a different level of understanding to the people who are doing this. Derek Colella was the dumbass who thought he was going to get some money and not get caught. But hold on, I want to show you what the New York posted about him. A California man accused of sending phony ransom texts to Savannah Guthrie's family about her missing mother has been arrested and charged, according to a criminal complaint filed Thursday. Derek Colella, who is in his mid-40s, messaged Guthrie's daughter Annie and son-in-law Tomasco Sioni about the ailing 84-year-old on Wednesday, according to the complaint filed in Arizona federal court. It says, quote unquote, Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end for the transaction. His message sent to both Annie and Sione allegedly read. Now, I mean, how fucking stupid can you be? You're going to text them and assume, he's probably using a VPN blocker and thinking that he's James Bond, like they're not going to catch him. Bro, you're dealing with the FBI. This is a talk show host that people know across the country. You think you're going to get away with a little Bitcoin scam and the FBI is not going to crack your little shitty VPN and catch you? You're a dumbass. And this is why I want to point this guy out specifically, because we're seeing what a fake ransom letter looks like compared to a professional one. But before we even get to the professional, I want to finish Mr. Dumbass Derek real quick. Approximately 3 minutes after sending the texts, data obtained by authorities showed Kalela also made a 9-second call to an unidentified family member of Nancy Guthrie, according to the court docs, which didn't name the relative he allegedly called. Someone with Kalela's name and birth year was charged with stealing almost $10,000 in unemployment benefits between May 6, 2020 and January 20th, 2022, while serving as Case Department of Health Services intermediate clerk in the county. So we already know that this guy's a scammer, but he's not really about that life. This is not the person that's going to break into the house, steal your mom, and demand millions of dollars, okay? This is not the guy. He just wanted a quick buck. Now we move over to the real ransom note and what TMZ is saying about it. And I'm going to be honest, I thought that all of these ransom letters were hoaxes, if that's how you say it. I thought they were all a hoax. I thought they were fake ransom letters and people trying to, make a quick buck off of somebody who's a millionaire. But the more TMZ breaks down the legitimate letter that they received that people are taking serious, the more I believe that this shit is real. Okay? And they're going to break it down here. Let's have Harvey break it down for us.
I looked at this alleged ransom note 20 times last night, and there was something that piqued my interest from the beginning. And I believe now that there is a way of connecting the dots, and that law enforcement has an area that they are most interested in terms of where Nancy might be, if this letter is legit. And I say it for this reason, that obviously the person who took Nancy, if this is the person who wrote this ransom letter, they're demanding money. And if they get the money, they're saying they will return her. That's obvious, right? Well, in the letter, it says they would return her back to Tucson. So they also give a time frame of how long it would take after they received the money to return her to Tucson. So there's a time frame. Now,
and this is where they made the mistake, and this is where I feel like they shouldn't have even posted this. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about it because it's all over the internet anyway. But if the ransom letter actually gave a time frame of how long it would take to return their mother after they get the money, that will give you a roadmap on how far they actually are. And that's what Harvey's about to break down. Now, they have the actual ransom letter. I've never seen it before. But I think they're analyzing a little too good, okay? Because if the person who actually stole their mom is actually trying to give her back, he's going to realize, well, wait, they kind of have an idea of where I am just because I gave that little detail of how long it's going to take to give her back. But let's continue.
If you look at the time frame, then you say, well, you can draw a circle around Tucson to see how long maximum it would take to get her back there. And they're not going to fly her back, because the last thing they're going to do is go to an airport where Nancy Guthrie shows ID. That's not going to happen. So clearly it would be driving. And they're not going to drive at 100 miles an hour because if they get stopped for speeding, it's over. So they're going to go at around the speed limit. So let's say that if this letter is legit, they would travel at about 60 miles an hour. So based on this time frame in the letter and the fact that she would be returned back to Tucson, here's the way it looks. If you look, this is Tucson right here. If you look at this red circle, that is the radius of the maximum amount of time it would take to get her back to Tucson, all around this circle. It incorporates California Nevada, Utah, Idaho. It incorporates Colorado, Wyoming, a little bit of Kansas, and a little bit of Oklahoma. Now, that's a big area for sure, but it is not the full United States. It's not the world. At least it's a defined area. And
if you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? The person who kidnapped her lives in Arizona. If you're picking up what they're putting down, it's almost obvious to me. It's almost a guarantee in my mind that the person who kidnapped Miss Guthrie lives in Arizona. Okay. Now I do feel like this is a problem because we're releasing this information to the public. TMZ does their research and they release what they research. But I believe the police already knew this and they didn't want the public to know. So now that we know, best believe the person who kidnapped her knows as well. So they might be shooken up. This might actually affect Nancy getting home. Because now if they feel like, we're reading their movements, they might want to change. They might want to do something else. And I feel like that's what's going to hurt the actual situation. That's what's going to actually hurt Nancy Guthrie the most. Scaring the kidnappers. But anyways.
Again, if the letter is legitimate, then it would seem, based on the amount of time maximum it would take to bring her back to Tucson, it's this area that I would think authorities are most interested in. And remember, they are looking for anybody who possibly has information on the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie. So there's a $50,000 reward for information leading to her return. So I would think that this area is particularly interesting to them. I want to say a couple of other things. The letter, people have been asking, does it seem like it's written by just a crazy person? And the answer is no. This letter was very well constructed. It had structure. It had a beginning, middle, and end. It was well done. I mean, if you took this letter to an English teacher and said, give me notes on structure, on grammar, you probably would get no notes back. It's done by somebody, I believe, who is educated and really spent time. This was not something that took 5 minutes to write. This was...
And again, so I feel like this is very dangerous because do you think the kidnapper is not watching TMZ? Again, the kidnapper sent the ransom letter in specifically to TMZ, probably knowing that they have a big reach. Okay? So I do feel like it's a problem explaining that, hey, the kidnapper is probably in these here states and we're going to close in and try to find them. And again, the fact that this person seems to be very well educated, they know how to write properly, they know how to construct their letters in a decent manner. I think it's somebody who probably knows Savannah, somebody who knows the family, somebody who knows the mom, or at the very least knows of them. They know the routine, and they said, you know what? We could probably make some money off of kidnapping this old lady. They probably knew that there was a Ring camera there. They disconnected it, knowing how her house was set up. It's somebody that's close to this family. That's my biggest bet. And I'm not sure if it's the brother-in-law or who it is, but it's somebody in Tucson, and it's somebody who knows the pattern of the family. Almost guaranteed, in my opinion. But we'll see if that pans out in the next couple of days. Hopefully she's returned alive. We'll see. Me personally, in my heart of hearts, bro, I don't think so. The ransom... There would have been another letter. There would have been some form of communication. Something would have happened by now. It has been 6 to 7 days since this has happened. Do you think she's really alive? You guys in the comments, let me know. Do you guys think she's still actually breathing?
Give me notes on structure, on grammar. You probably would get no notes back. It's done by somebody, I believe, who is educated and really spent time. This was not something that took 5 minutes to write. This was a well-constructed letter. Final thing I want to say, and now this is opinion, that it is interesting to me that we got this ransom letter, but also the other two media outlets that got the ransom letters were both located in Tucson. They were televisions.
Exactly. There you go. Why would they, maybe if I'm from Colorado, maybe I'll target the Tucson radio stations because I know that's where, the lady lives and, it's in Arizona, so I'll just send the ransom letter there because it'll get the most response there. But it does seem like somebody who knows the local stations, who knows the routine of the Guthrie family, who knows all that. And again, this is an educated person, so we can X out bums and hobos on the street who maybe want to make a quick buck. It's not a crazy person. This is somebody who knows the family.
Stations in Tucson. So why would somebody who wrote a letter like this know about the local stations and send to the local stations if they have no connection to Tucson? It feels like there is a connection to Tucson with the person who wrote this letter. And, a lot of people are saying, well, it happened because Savannah Guthrie is rich and famous, which she is. But is it that somebody looked at Savannah Guthrie and said, let's find a relative? Or is it somebody who lives in the Tucson area and either knows Nancy Guthrie or knows of her and knows her famous daughter is Savannah Guthrie, and it hatches from that?
It's almost 100% that. It's almost 100% that. I will be surprised if the person who gets caught for doing this, because best believe they're going to catch the person who did this. They're going to catch him. It's going to happen. It's too big not to happen. When they find that person, it's going to be somebody who knew them or knew very well of them in the Tucson, Arizona area. That's my opinion. And it almost feels like the family has an inkling of who it could be. We're seeing all these videos. We're seeing Savannah make a video. We're about to watch the brother make a video. It almost seems like they don't know who it is, but they have an idea that it could be somebody who knows of them. Let's watch this video real quick of Savannah's brother.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
I don't know, man. It just feels to me like this is definitely somebody in their hometown. You guys let me know in the comments. Let me know if I made any mistakes in this video. Let me know what you guys think about the whole unfolding of this story so far. Hopefully the woman's alive, man. Hopefully she is alive. But listen, bro. You would have gotten contact by day 2. Day 3. Fuck it, even day 4. We're approaching day 7. Something wrong happened when they kidnapped her, and her health probably degraded from there. And now they don't know what to do. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me if you think I'm crazy. Tell me if you think I'm spot on. I'll see you guys real soon. You already know the time it is, man. You already know what time it is. Stay inside, stay safe. I'll see you real soon. Peace.